Donald Trump has accused President Biden of weaponizing the Justice Department in a speech at the Road to Majority conference yesterday.
He also said he considered the 2 indictments against him as a badge of courage.
Let's talk to Steve Gill, who served under both the Bush and Clinton administrations. Good to see you. I guess we shouldn't be surprised. He's trying to swing all this to his advantage.
I guess to kind of leap off of Ann's comments, we go from blustering Boris Johnson to defensive Donald Trump. And at this Faith and Freedom conference, he was asserting his defenses. He's bloodied but unbowed by the latest indictment. And he's asserting both his legal and factual defenses to the charges against him. We'll see how that plays in the court. It certainly played well in this crowd, but I'm not sure it will play the same way in the court.
He certainly is the most amazing showman, isn't he? That no matter what the Democrats particularly try and fling at him, he just bats it back, doesn't he? He can turn it to his advantage.
Yeah, and again, we're going to see this aggressive, combative Donald Trump. It's what we've seen in the past, and he shows no signs of changing. I think that he also came out swinging against Biden and the latest information about the Biden family and the corruption of Hunter Biden and the alleged whistleblower information that literally millions of dollars were obtained from the Chinese, with Hunter Biden claiming at least at one point that his father was sitting right there with him, and the Chinese mogul he was dealing with needed to cough up the $5 million that day, or his dad and he would be after them. So again, you've got this information that is to some extent being buried by the American news media, and certainly has been buried by the FBI and the Department of Justice, which again, I think you're exactly right, Ann. He's going to come out swinging against the Department of Justice, the weaponization of these agencies against him personally, and I think we're going to see this for the next 18 months or so.
I'll tell you what it does, Steve. I mean, certainly from an outsider's perspective, it makes the whole American system look corrupt as hell.
I have to agree, and it certainly feels like it when you have a Hunter Biden who's just struck a plea deal with the federal government over taxes and over a gun charge that leaves him with no jail time under the plea deal he struck. And you have other people, celebrities and others that have actually served jail time who have faced serious jail time for the same exact charges that he gets a pass on with the Biden Justice Department. We had a character in the Trump realm who was his CFO, a 77-year-old man who was sent to Rikers Island jail in New York for 5 months on paperwork charges, on IRS charges that are much less substantial than what Hunter Biden was facing. And yet, because he was associated with Trump, he goes to Rikers Island, and Hunter Biden, who faces much worse and certainly more evidence against him, apparently gets a complete pass by the Department of Justice appointed by Joe Biden.
And then, of course, there's the debate about whether, even if Donald Trump did have to do jail time, he could still run for president and be president from jail. Do you think that's true?
Well, we're already seeing this trial get delayed because the lawyers that will be representing President Trump have to get cleared under security to review the classified documents that are at issue, or at least allegedly at issue here. So I think they're delaying that for months. I think we're going to continue to see delays. I don't expect that this trial on these particular charges to take place before the next presidential election next November. So he very well could be going to trial after he's been elected. And has already pardoned himself. So I think this thing has so many levels. It's kind of like the old Star Trek chess, where you play 3 levels of chess. Not only is the government moving pieces, but Donald Trump is moving them fast and furiously as well.
It's all about his base, though, isn't it? I mean, what are we seeing in terms of the Trump base? Is it as strong as it was last time round?
Yeah, I think his base, and it's maybe 35 to 40, maybe as much as 45% in the Republican primary. These are folks that will crawl over cracked glass on hot asphalt in the peak of heat in August, or some of what Britain's experiencing right now. These folks are absolutely dedicated to him. And I think the challenge for any of his opponents in the growing field of Republican primary candidates is, how do you attack Donald Trump to bring him down without losing any opportunity to get his supporters? I mean, if you hit him, you may be losing them not only in this election cycle, but for some of these folks looking 4 years down the road, the Trump MAGA supporters may hold a grudge for a long time. It is a very tight needle to thread. And I think most people recognize it's going to be impossible for anybody on the Republican side to do that. And he is almost certainly going to be the Republican nominee.
OK. Steve, good to see you.
Very
Thanks
good to
very
see
much
you. Thank
indeed.
you. Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. I tell you what, it doesn't not just make you think, how incredibly corrupt all sides are in American politics, but also you're looking at two old men.
Yeah.
And they are very old to hold that sort of responsibility.
Yes.
And the Sleepy Joe thing has stuck, and I'm afraid it looks true. When Trump called Joe Biden Sleepy Joe, I'm afraid that sort of turns out to look true.
Yeah.
Half the time, at least.
Yes, it's not looking great, is it?
No, it really isn't.
Quite why
Is
there
that the best they can do?
Why isn't there an injection of younger blood in all of this? Surely that's what they need.